At the United Nations, where diplomacy is meant to temper conflict, long-standing fault lines in South Asia once again surfaced. India has delivered one of its sharpest rebukes yet to Pakistan at the United Nations Security Council, accusing Islamabad of abusing global platforms to push a divisive agenda while presiding over democratic collapse and state-sponsored terrorism at home. During an open debate on leadership for peace, New Delhi rejected Pakistan's attempts to internationalize Jammu and Kashmir and questioned Islamabad's credibility as a Security Council member. For decades, Pakistan has sought to internationalize Kashmir issue at multilateral platforms, often diverting attention from its own internal instability and security failures. That pattern resurfaced at the Security Council when Islamabad invoked Jammu and Kashmir and the Indus Waters Treaty during an open debate meant to focus on global peace leadership. India's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador Parvataneni Harish, called out Pakistan for repeatedly weaponizing multilateral forums to target India, instead of addressing its own internal crisis and regional destabilization.
The statement made by the representative of Pakistan today. India would like to reiterate that the Union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh are an integral and inalienable part of India. They were, are, and will always remain so. Pakistan's unwarranted reference to Jammu and Kashmir in today's open debate attests to its obsessive focus on harming India and its people. A serving non-permanent Security Council member that chooses to further this obsession in all meetings and platforms of the UN in pursuit of its divisive agenda cannot be expected to fulfill its designated responsibilities and obligations.
India also questioned Pakistan's suitability to sit on the Security Council, arguing that a state which prioritizes vendetta politics and misinformation over peace cannot be expected to uphold the Council's responsibilities. New Delhi firmly rejected Islamabad's claim that Kashmir must be resolved through UN resolutions, reiterating that the matter is internal to India and constitutionally settled. But the sharpest criticism was reserved for Pakistan's domestic political trajectory, one that India described as a stark contradiction to its rhetoric about the will of the people. Ambassador Parvathaneni highlighted the imprisonment of former Prime Minister Imran Khan, the banning of his political party, and sweeping constitutional changes that consolidate military power beyond civilian oversight.
Pakistan, of course, has a unique way of respecting the will of its people by jailing a prime minister, by banning the ruling political party, and by letting its armed forces engineer a constitutional coup through the 27th Amendment and giving lifetime immunity to its Chief of Defense Forces. Let me be clear. India will counter Pakistan-sponsored terrorism in all its forms and manifestations with all its might.
Imran Khan has been behind bars since August 2023 with reports of prolonged solitary confinement. The UN Special Rapporteur on Torture has warned that his detention conditions may amount to torture or other cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment, concerns Islamabad has so far dismissed. Last month's 27th constitutional amendment, passed under Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, further entrenched military dominance by granting lifelong legal immunity to Army Chief and Chief of Defense Forces Field Marshal Asim Munir, a move critiques say formalizes authoritarian rule. India also addressed Pakistan's allegations over the Indus Waters Treaty, underlining that New Delhi entered the agreement 65 years ago in good faith, despite enduring decades of conflict and terror emanating from across the border.
India had entered into the Indus Waters Treaty 65 years ago in good faith, in a spirit of goodwill and friendship. Throughout these 6.5 decades, Pakistan has violated the spirit of the treaty by inflicting 3 wars and thousands of terror attacks on India.
New Delhi reminded the international community that Pakistan's record is marked not by compliance but by persistent sponsorship of cross-border terrorism, a pattern that has claimed tens of thousands of lives. It is against this backdrop, India said that it has decided to place the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance, a calibrated move framed as a response to Pakistan's failure to dismantle its terror infrastructure.
In the last 4 decades, tens of thousands of Indian lives have been lost in Pakistan-sponsored terror attacks, the most recent of which was a Pahalgam terror attack in April 2025, which involved religion-based targeted killings of 26 innocent civilians by Pakistan-sponsored terrorists. It is in this backdrop that India has finally announced that the treaty will be held in abeyance until Pakistan, which is a global epicenter of terror, credibly and irrevocably ends its support for cross-border and all other forms of terrorism.
India concluded its intervention with an unambiguous warning that terrorism will be met with resolve, not restraint. New Delhi made it clear that peace in South Asia cannot coexist with impunity for extremist violence or military domination over democratic institutions. For the international community, India's message was direct: accountability, not deflection, is the true test of leadership for peace. And Pakistan continues to fall dangerously short.